Welcome back to Breaking Ground and a very good evening. I'm Siddharth Talia. Now, there's been a big development in India's fight against the COVID-19 pandemic with the government approving the inclusion of an intranasal COVID vaccine in the vaccination program as a booster dose for adults. Now, as per sources, the needle-free vaccine will be available at private centers and will also be added to the CoWIN portal. Bharat Biotech's nasal vaccine, being a needleless jab, will be India's first such booster dose. It can be administered to those above 18 years of age. The pricing of the vaccine will also be decided soon, and it will be made available in government as well as private facilities. Private facilities to begin with. Currently, Bharat Biotech's Covaxin, the Serum Institute's Covishield, and Covovax and the Russian Sputnik V, as well as Biological E's Corbevax, are listed on the CoWIN portal for administration. And in fact, let's take this across to get a perspective on the efficacy of this vaccine and why this is an important development. We're being joined right now by Dr. Rajiv Dasgupta, member National AEFI Committee, and also Dr. Ishwar Gilada, the Secretary General of the Organized Medicine Academic Guild, OMAG. Dr. Dasgupta, coming to you first, and thank you so much for speaking to us. Tell us about why this vaccine is significant, because, of course, it will be administered in a different way from the conventional vaccines that we've actually received during our fight against the pandemic. What makes the intranasal vaccine so unique?
Thank you. This vaccine, Incovacc or BB154, this has been in preparation since 2021. And it has always been known that it would be a very promising vaccine, particularly because of the ease of administration. You just need to administer 4 drops in the nostril. You need to tilt your head back, administer 4 drops, and hold your head back for a while, just like any other nasal drop. The advantage is, apart from the ease of administration, is that the nasal mucosa, the inner lining of the nose, forms an excellent layer or ground for stimulating the immune response. And the immune response to this vaccine through the phase 1, 2, and 3 clinical trials has been excellent, and therefore this vaccine has been given the approval. Also, the adverse events that have been recorded through the trial process in the phase 3 clinical trial, there were 3,100 plus volunteers on which the trial was carried out. The adverse events, they were only mild headache or some little bit of nasal symptom, and there were no major adverse effects. That's what we know so far. The vaccine will now be rolled out, and it is official in the program, and you should be able to book your slot soon.
Okay, let's take this across to Dr. Gilada as well. Dr. Gilada, the very fact that this particular vaccine will be administered directly into the nasal system, does that therefore mean that it's perhaps more effective than the ones that have been administered through the arm? That's a basic question.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on the show. Definitely, it will be much better than the injectable vaccine. There are several advantages that it is a needleless, injection-less vaccine. It's a bilateral vaccine. It prevents you from getting infection, and if you are infected, it prevents others from getting infective organism from you. None of the injectable vaccines are bilateral. And we have an experience of using Nasal-Vac, which was also from same Bharat Biotech, which was for flu. And I don't know why they withdrawn that, but we used that for several years, almost 3-4 years. And it was withdrawn some 2 or 3 years back. So that was used for flu. So whenever we used to offer people that there is an injectable flu vaccine and there is a Nasal-Vac, and people used to prefer Nasal-Vac. Proportion was almost 9 versus 1. So 9 people used to prefer this nasal vaccine. Secondly, we have also experience of polio vaccine, oral polio vaccine.
Yes.
Because the polio is spread through orophycal route, therefore giving oral, it was more advantageous than injectable. Now they are also saying that you can also give injectable in addition to oral, but oral is preferable. And it has been so easy to use oral vaccine for children. So if you look at advantages, you look at this can be a game changer. You look at this can be also used for a boost as a booster. And only 2 doses are required as against 3 doses. only 4 drops required as against half a ml. So I think there are several advantages. We should look at that.
Okay.
And there are 100 such vaccines available as candidate, which are going to be nasally given, but 20 of them are in clinical trial. So all over the world they are using.
Yes.
And I would like to go one step beyond. Currently, China is struggling very hard. No doubt they are our staunch enemy. But sometimes by offering such help to them, the enemy may become your friend. And we have seen that happening in individual level, where the very strong enemies of each other of neighboring place, and one person died and the other person sends food after the death of a person and they become friends. So in such situation, India should offer a helping hand, not only to China, to all over the world.
Okay, we've actually done that as part of our vaccine outreach program to several other countries. But let me take this across to Dr. Dasgupta once again. Dr. Dasgupta, at least for the time being, as far as the nasal vaccine is concerned, it can only be administered as a precaution dose or a booster dose. What do you believe could be the possible rationale for such a move and for not including as part of the second dose, which 75 million people in India still need to take, but rather as a precaution dose and as a booster dose for the time being?
The primary schedule for this vaccine, for the nasal vaccine, is 2 doses, 28 days, that is 4 weeks apart. The current need for India is to quickly fill up the gap that we have in the uptake of booster doses. Less than 30% have actually been immunized with the booster dose of those who are eligible. And therefore, there's a huge shortfall in the uptake of the third dose, and particularly if those who are elderly or those who have other comorbidities, maybe on steroid or cancer chemotherapy and so on, who are more vulnerable to the complications of COVID, they need to be protected pretty fast. And therefore, given the ease of administration, it's something like the oral polio vaccine, which was very easy to use in campaign mode. The government, of course, has not announced any campaign per se, but has made this additionally available and also okayed what we call mix and match, or in more formal terms, heterologous schedule. And therefore, those who have already received 2 doses of either Covishield or Covaxin can now take this as a booster dose.
Okay.
And the idea is to be able to scale up the booster uptake quickly.
That's right. That's a very pertinent point you've made, because as far as the booster dose is concerned, the coverage so far has been approximately 28 to 30%. So we still need to go a long way in order to address a considerable number of our population as far as the precaution dose is concerned. But coming to you once again, Dr. Gilada, the obvious question that many will now ask is, given the fact that the B7 variant of Omicron is widely prevalent currently in China, it's been prevalent in India for a few months now. Obviously, it's not spread with the kind of lethality that it has in China. But do you believe that the intranasal vaccine as a booster dose could be an adequate shield or a precaution against this particular variant as well?
There are 2 aspects to look at it. Whether the threat from China is real to India, I don't think so. Because BA.7 and BQ.1 in the US and other countries, they have been creating havoc for those countries. Our number of cases currently are only 1,000 a week, and we have registered 5 lakh cases per day, and that too our testing was not augmented. So I think this is a hypothetical risk. I don't think, because China is having a problem for last several months. Nobody believes on China's numbers, and nobody knows how China is dealing with it. So let us don't have that kind of fear complex, but at the same time, when COVID is dying low, deaths are not there, people would not be interested in taking booster. So we should boost up this mechanism by another way. Because currently, we have put a ration on vaccine. Let it be open. There are 12,50,000 MBBS doctors. There are 4,50,000 postgraduate doctors. Open it to all the doctors, all the clinics, all the hospitals. This vaccine doesn't even require a technician to give. Even people can take personally themselves, like you put a nasal drop. So if that is the situation, then let people buy from chemist shop. Let people take it on their own. So that will ease out your pressure. With the booster, why 25-30% uptake? Because booster was initially made available only for 60+ people. Then it was
Right.
made available for 60,000 people, but COVID was not there. And then we had to destroy almost 5 crore vaccines. So I think that was a criminal waste, and we should have thought of that, because we have been warning 5 months before the expiry of the date of vaccine, but nothing was done. So I think at least now we should open up that vaccination. If I can give a vaccine for flu, I can give for typhoid, I can give for hepatitis B. Why can't I give for COVID? But there is a restriction. So I think we should open up that, and
All right.
that vaccination should be done by everyone.
Okay, Dr. Dasgupta as well as Dr. Gilada, that was a very insightful conversation, and thank you so much for spreading the awareness about how the intranasal vaccine that's now out will actually work. Hopefully it will encourage more people to get their precaution dose or the booster dose, which is also the need of the hour. Many thanks once again for your participation. We'll slip into a short break for now. We'll come back with a lot more lined up for you on the other side. Don't go anywhere.